Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The poisoned Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny is to return to Russia, that's according to his spokeswoman. It's after he shared a picture from hospital on Instagram showing him sitting up in bed and surrounded by his family with the message that he was now able to breathe independently. He wrote, "Hi, this is Navalny, I miss you all," adding that he didn't know much about anything, but he'd soon catch up. He collapsed on a flight from Siberia on the 20th of August. Tests have shown he was poisoned with a Novichok nerve agent. US President Donald Trump has dismissed concerns over climate change on a visit to fire-ravaged California, telling an official, "I don't think science knows about global warming."
If we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay, it'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Hey, well, I don't think science knows, actually.
Mr. Trump has previously referred to climate change as a hoax and in 2017 pulled the United States out of the Paris Accord that laid out an international approach to global warming. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden stressed the role of climate change in causing the fires, describing President Donald Trump as a climate arsonist.
If you give a climate arsonist 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised if we have more America ablaze? We need a president who respects science.
The British House of Commons has approved a new bill allowing the government to break international law with regard to the Brexit deal signed with the EU last year.
The ayes to the right, 340, the noes to the left, 263.
The new law will allow the British government to overrule the Brexit deal specifically relating to the Irish border. Ministers say the bill contains vital safeguards to protect Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK if negotiations on a future trade deal with the EU break down.
To break international law.
However, critics warned the breach of the international law might damage the UK's reputation abroad. The bill does still need to pass through the House of Lords, which may well vote against it. Ivory Coast Constitutional Council has ruled that President Alassane Ouattara is eligible to run for a third term in the October 31st presidential elections. There have been violent protests in Ivory Coast since Mr. Ouattara announced his candidacy, with over a dozen people killed in clashes between protesters and police since August. The Constitution says the president can only stay in power for 2 terms. But Mr. Ouattara has argued that the publication of a new constitution in 2016 reset his presidency. Paul Rusesabagina has declined to plead to all 13 charges facing him, demanding he be allowed to plead to each separate count. Mr. Rusesabagina, who was portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood movie about Rwanda's 1994 genocide, appeared in a Kigali court accused of terrorism, complicity in murder, and forming or joining an irregular armed group. His trial promises to be the most high-profile yet in a string of cases against President Paul Kagame's opponents. Scientists have announced that a 113 square kilometre chunk of ice has broken off from the vast ancient ice sheet sitting atop Greenland due to climate change and global warming. The section of the glacier at the northwest corner of the Arctic island had been breaking up for several years before finally becoming completely detached. With climate change driving up Arctic temperatures, the sea ice cover has been shrinking to new low levels in recent years. This year's minimum is expected to be the second lowest expanse in 4 decades of record keeping. Astronomers have announced they have detected a gas on the planet Venus that indicates that microbes may inhabit its clouds. The researchers did not discover actual life forms, but found a gas called phosphine that on Earth is produced by bacteria thriving in oxygen-starved environments. Venus is Earth's closest planetary neighbour, but it has always been considered inhospitable to life due to its extreme temperatures and atmospheric acidity. And finally, an Italian-themed restaurant in the South Korean capital Seoul is now promising the coronavirus-safe delivery of food to tables, not by humans, but by robots. Aglio Kim, that's the name of the robot, was developed by South Korean company KT Corp and uses artificial intelligence to bring the food to clients and avoid obstacles. Aglio Kim is the first robot by the company, but KT said they aim to supply more robots for restaurants this year and will unveil a second model later next year. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel studios in Lagos.